What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another post-match fan show. A bit of Tottenham therapy for you guys once again. Tottenham have thrown away another lead, another chance to go into the top four. 2-2 away at Newcastle today. Which, look, at the end of the day, it's not like that result in itself is not damaging in terms of us getting top four, because we're only 2 points outside the top four.
Yeah, it's just...
But in terms of kind of the state of mind, the mentality, giving ourselves hope going in against Man United, against Everton. I mean, I have no confidence now for us to get into that top four. Don't know about you.
It's just what it represents. It's just 13 points given away from leading positions in the last 15 minutes of games this season. I mean, that goes to show where it's been the story of our season. It's been a systemic problem throughout the whole season of keep holding on to leads, keeping leads, and the defenders today were just all over the place. Each one, except for maybe Rodon, like they were just all over the place, and it's just so poor to watch. And like they just couldn't. This team can't hold on to leads. They don't know what to do when they're leading. It's really, really frustrating. And I don't know where we go from here. I mean, obviously we're still in the fight, but we have to probably beat Man United and Everton now. We have to win both those games, and I just can't see that happening. So it's really difficult to see where the season goes. But we just have to look. Obviously, you still got hope as long as we're still in there, but it's not good enough. It just isn't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put a positive spin on it, but there's one person who maybe can put a positive spin on it, and that is my grandpa. Let's get him on. Yeah. Let's see what he has to say. Grandpa, how are you, my friend? How are you?
Great. I'm great. I was very sad because I was 5 minutes away from getting my prediction correct.
Yeah.
2-1. And I agree with what you're saying. It's we can't get rid of the ball. In defence, we kick the ball to the other side all the time.
Every time.
Absolutely appalling. And it was the lost balls. Even Regulon was doing the same. He wasn't getting the players. I thought he had a bad game. I think he's still not match fit, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe.
When he was running, he wasn't as fast as the others. But Sanchez was absolutely appalling.
Yeah,
he really was. I mean, and Tanganga also. Yeah, they were at fault. Both those goals was a mistakes. It wasn't brilliant play by them. It was mistakes by us. And we're staying in the woodwork record. We're staying in hitting the woodwork record.
And 2 minutes after hitting the woodwork, we've conceded, or less than 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
That's right. At any rate, you've got to give Kane. Kane, considering he's played all this football, stayed fit throughout that game, and he really did. Was the best player on the pitch. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
Grandpa, when you're looking at the bigger picture, Grandpa, 2 points outside the top four, a cup final to play this month. Do you hold any sort of hope that we can finish in the top four this year?
Yeah, I'm going to hold hope, yes. I hold hope. But my concern now, more than ever before, is Mourinho. Because I can't follow his thinking. Why on earth did he not bring Lamela? Either start Lamela, but certainly bring Lamela on. He's been our best player now the last 3 matches, and he doesn't bring him on, which is exciting. When he came on, it started to get some movement going again. So yeah, there's hope, and I would hope that Mourinho think a bit more carefully. I mean, Bale as well. Why didn't he play Bale?
Yeah,
Bale's the one that gets the ball in the net and is creative. So yeah, it's the defense he's got to get right. He's got to get that defense keeping the ball out of their side, out of their area.
Any other players that did well on your point scoring system today?
Yes. I've got lots of crosses. I have ticks and crosses. More crosses than ticks.
Who's got the most crosses? I want to know that.
Sanchez for sure.
Sanchez, yeah, really Sanchez. Rice, I think, did well. Ndombele did quite well, and he was the assist, I think, in one of those goals. Yep. So I thought he was good. Moira wasn't bad. Vinicius didn't do anything. Regulon didn't do anything. Rondon didn't do very much. Hobia, I would say, would probably be the next best. I mean, he did manage in the centre there all the time. He was there all the time, and his passing was quite good. But other than that, it wasn't just individual players as much as the team. As a team, they weren't. They can play so well. I still think we've got the right players. I still think we've got good players. It's getting them together, when they change them over, we've still got one of the chances we've got is that we've got matches at one a week and not two a week, and I think that's going to give us a chance to build the best team. But let's see the best team.
Didn't give us a chance today. But let me ask you this, Grandpa. If we don't finish top 4, which looks like we're not going to this season, if we don't finish top 4, has Jose Mourinho done enough to keep his job for next season?
If we don't get it, I am having my doubts.
Yeah, me too.
Up till last week, I was still believing that. But since he's had all this space now, you can't argue that the players were tired. Similarly, Son was fit. Why did he didn't play Son right at the beginning? What he's not doing is bringing his best team out, as if he's got another game in the middle of the week.
Yeah,
he's not switched to say, now I've got to play my best team every single match.
Yeah, look, it's hard to disagree. I mean, I said after this game, straight after the game, I said that I'm struggling to see how Jose Mourinho can last further than this season. I'm just struggling to see that. And if anyone can come on and tell me how it can happen, then please do. But we're definitely underperforming with the squad that we've got there. So it's hard to see another way around it, to be honest.
I've been having a chat with some of the guys that are waiting. And Shiv is the first time he's been on. So if you can call him, you should do. He'd be very pleased. And he lives near Wembley.
All right. We'll be getting on soon. We'll be getting him on soon. But Grandpa,
anyway,
absolute pleasure as always. And we'll get to speak to you soon.
Yeah.
Cheers, Grandpa.
A couple of super chats here. One from Hotspur Hazard says, team did not play together. #rebuild. And Brad Matthew says, I think we'll beat United and Everton and miss out on top 4 because that's the Spurs we all love. Absolutely fed up.
The only way we beat United if we get Josh King in the studio again.
Yeah, I guess
that's the only way. That's the only way.
Yeah, I mean, knowing Spurs, you probably will beat United and Everton, then lose to Southampton and lose like the next 3 games. That's how Spurs like to do it.
But look, let's move on. Let's get Josh King on. Josh, man, talk to me, man. Just talk to me. I don't know what to say anymore.
Lads, I'm absolutely raging, honestly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Someone in the back room was saying hello. I was like,
no, we can hear you.
Raging. And honestly, any stout Jose supporter that has never given in criticism, that just throws everything on the players, really, you've got to take a good look at yourself, innit? It's not good to be on either side. I am aware that we have players that shouldn't be playing here, that are not good enough. But I also know, and I've been saying it from the beginning, Jose makes baffling decisions. Our best defender has been relegated to the reserves now. Why? Why are we like... No matter what you say, we haven't got any world-class defenders anymore. Toby was once upon a time, but Toby's at least good enough to be third choice, be on the bench. And
I think there was a situation. I think Jose said about Toby and Serge that they came back from internationals late and they didn't do their COVID tests in time.
All right. Well, look, if you believe that because they were ill before the international break.
Look.
So
I agree with you, Josh. I'm struggling to back Jose now. I really am. And I was one that I've been backing Jose pretty much all season, and now I'm struggling to back him.
Look at the decisions you make. You got Bale, Son, and Lamela on the bench. As Grandpa rightly said, Lamela should have been playing in place of Vinny or Bale. You got Bale had one bad performance against Arsenal. Before that, he was our best player, better than Harry Kane for 5-6 games in a row. Why take your ego out your arse, Jose? Like, what is wrong with this guy? It's all egotistical. He always makes decisions based off his ego. If you want Tanganga to be on the pitch, put him in Sanchez's place then. Do you know what I mean? What if he's 2 inches smaller? You heard Jose in the press conference saying, Tanganga's not a giant. That is dinosaur mentality. That is something that the coaches 20 years ago used to think. You have to be a certain height. You have to be... Look, the guy has... It's Levy's fault, this whole thing, because Levy is the one that makes the decisions on who the managers are. Levy has destroyed any chance we had of kicking on from the Poch era. He totally destroyed any chance we had by not, spending the correct amount of money in the right places, not hiring the right talent to actually search for the right players, and also hiring the wrong manager. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I'm so gutted, because I want Jose to succeed, because I know that's the only way that we are going to have a happy Kane like next season. If we got top 4 and we won the League Cup, Kane would stay, and we don't change managers again. If we change managers again, Kane's going to be looking around like, what is actually going on here? Even if we somehow hang on to him because no one will buy him, he's going to be unhappy, even if he doesn't show it. And I'm telling you now, his form will drop if he's unhappy. I'm just raging, man.
But let me ask Josh. You say we got Bale on the bench, we have Lamela on the bench, which is true. But Lucas has been one of our better players in the past few months. You have Lo Celso, who's a very good player, who's had a few weeks to get back into full fitness and whatnot. Carlos Vinicius scored it started in his last game and scored. Obviously, he did take off Vinicius off and brought on Son at half time. But surely the players on the pitch are good enough to get a result in this game, are they not?
I would say, where was our problem? It was defence. Do you know what I mean? That was our main problem. So
Agreed.
He's selecting those players in defence are not good enough to get a result, and he selected them when there are other players that I don't know.
Doherty's injured. Aurier came back late from international break and whatever. Claims he didn't have his COVID test. Huh?
Yeah, if that's true.
It's true, let's say it's true.
All right, cool. Well, then you put Tanganga in place of Sanchez, and you put Sissoko at right back. You do something else like that. Sanchez has not been covering himself in glory at all.
No, I agree with that, but let's be honest. Sanchez past few weeks has been pretty good, right? I agree. He was horrific today, and he infuriated me, and he was shocking. I think every time he touched the ball, he gave it away. I think both goals you could put down to him, like a big section of that. He a lot of the chances they created were his fault, him ball watching and whatnot. But fair is fair. Last for 4 or 5 weeks, Sanchez hasn't been that bad. So putting him in today wasn't going to cost us a result, even though it did. Would you if you put Dyer in and Dyer would make a mistake, you'd have been saying the same thing. Is it not? Could you not argue it's just the choice of defenders he has at his disposal?
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I do not for 1 second believe that they couldn't have played. Why is it our team when Chelsea had their full squad available? I know some were on the bench, but they didn't have players that were. And they played a day before us. They didn't have players that they couldn't select because they were late for a COVID test or whatever. And how is it the same players that were apparently ill before? So I'm sorry, I don't believe that. It's Jose bullshit again, like it always is. And then
Josh, for me, it's not actually the problem with the personnel he's picked today. It's the problem with how he's motivating this team. A better manager would be motivating them better, and they would be getting results against a Newcastle. You know what I mean? So for me,
he would. A better manager would give them some sort of structure. Do you see today? I don't know if you were watching, but I'm always talking about the way we press and stuff like that. People are just running like headless chickens. One player will try and press Lucas on his own, and then I'm not going to lie. Obviously Harry was the best player on the pitch today, but he's not getting involved when Lucas is. And do you know what I mean? There's no cohesive plan when it comes to pressing the opposition. Newcastle were pressing better than us today, and that's a Steve Bruce team.
Newcastle was so much better than us in every single aspect of the pitch. They were. And that's just simple as that. And that is clearly not good enough. The players we had on the pitch today were more than good enough to win that game. It was the exact same lineup that beat Aston Villa 2-0. So you got to say it's down to application, it's down to mentality, and that stems all the way from the top. That filters from Daniel Levy all the way down to Jose Mourinho, down to the players. Yes, I know we have a lot of players that threw Pochettino under the bus as well, but even so, man, you got to be beating teams like Newcastle.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But you've just got to think how does it feel? It's clear that the players aren't playing for him anymore, unfortunately. Some of them are. I'm sure Harry is trying and whatever. But you know, the players aren't playing for him. And how would you feel if you just see your random teammates like get relegated to the reserves? How does like people like Ndombele feel? Aurier, his best mate, getting relegated to the reserves, and people that used to be friends with Delhi and all that sort of stuff. Like he does not, the way that he acts it's not conducive to a happy mentality. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't make the players all feel good. What is going on with Gareth Bale? Why can't he start a match where we haven't got Son? Like what? Why? Yeah, sorry, I'm just vexed, man. I'm so vexed.
We all are.
Yeah, we all are, man. It's a really bitter pill to swallow, man, because, you know, after beating Aston Villa, we've won 4 of our last 5 Premier League games. I know we had that week with Zagreb and Arsenal in between, which really hurt us. But we actually thought, as a fan base, we thought we could kick on today. We thought we had an opportunity to go into that top 4. But yet again, we let ourselves down every single fucking time. And I've had enough of it. I really have.
Every time, man. Every time.
But look, Josh, absolute pleasure to get you on as
Good
always,
to see you,
man.
Josh.
Head up. And look, let's see. Maybe we go to against Man United this weekend and get a result. Who knows?
Wouldn't put it past us. But yeah, cheers, boys.
Cheers, man. Speak to you later.
Josh. Mintu Lee with a super chat says, Hugo kind of mispositioned for the second goal, but he did well with a few saves in the first half. Yeah, I mean, I don't put too much blame on Hugo today. I think he did okay. I mean, I think he made some really good saves, especially that one from Gale. What a save that was. Great save in the first half. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have too much to say on Hugo from a bad point of view.
All right, let's get Shiv on.
Shiv,
first time caller, was on John Cooper's show a couple of weeks ago. How you doing, mate?
Could be better, boys. I mean, to summarise this in the simplest way possible, that performance was worse than the current state of my hair. I cannot put it any better than that. I actually came in the game today thinking, you know what, after the Chelsea result yesterday, which was a gift for everyone below them, ridiculous result, we've actually got a chance to go fourth. Yeah. After how bad we've been and how poor on the perception of how poor we've been, to go fourth would have been like, wow, okay. And we put ourselves in that driving seat, you know, till obviously West Ham play tomorrow, but still. And we're playing Newcastle. This is probably the deadest Newcastle team I think I've ever come across. 2 wins in 18. They have no plan. If you ever watch them, they have no plan on the pitch. Their fans.
And that's on top of them being relegated twice in the last 10 years.
Yeah, and you know I thought they are going to go down this season. I think they still will. We allowed this team over 20 shots on our goal. Yeah. 20. It was appalling defensively, and there's only so much Harry Kane can, you know, drag us forward. There's only so much, and I feel like it's a broken record. The way I talk about it with my mates, etc., when I came on John's show, that defence, Davinson Sanchez, and you guys hit the nail on the head earlier quite well. He does put in the odd good performance, but he's never far from a calamity. Mm-hmm. And that's the issue. He's not someone you can rely on in defence. If you look at the top centre-backs over the years in the Prem, of teams who've won the Prem or finished in the top 4, even us, let's go back to Poch, Toby and Jan. How many times we talk about a mistake from either of those two at the back? We were spoiled with them.
Very rarely.
Sanchez probably made more mistakes today than they did in their career.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd actually agree with that. And again, you can blame Mourinho, but he's got a pool of defenders to choose from. You've got Dyer, who's no better than Sanchez, probably worse. You know, Aurier I actually really like. And if the COVID thing is true, let's just base it on the truth for now. You know, there might clearly be a problem there with Jan. Sorry, not with Jan, with Toby and Serge. Because like Josh said, they didn't start the last game. They were ill, went to international duty and played every game. And Serge played very well from what I've seen and heard. So if that's the case and they are ready to play today and they're not playing, there's an issue there. And it's a really bad issue. Doherty being injured, not really too bothered, to be honest. Can't say he's really added much this season.
Who is, man? Who is?
Exactly. Yeah. Ben Davis, again, good servant, but he's not someone who's going to take the club forward. Reguilon, I thought, offensively, he's very, very good. And some of the balls he put in second half, very, very good. Defensively, again, all over the place. I think there was no fixed line. There was no one leading. There's no one leading that line. And I just think back to the summer. If we got Skriniar in and you put someone like Sanchez next to him, that's a workable solution. You know, someone who can actually lead.
Shiv, let me ask you this about Jose Mourinho. Has he done enough as manager this season and last season to say, look, I'm still here for next season?
Honestly, I've backed this guy all season until I went on John's show after the Zagreb game, in which case I said Jose out. And I'm still giving him to the end of the season, whatever happens. And that was always the case then. But right now, no, I don't.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue what, as in the performances, the results we're getting, the performances we're doing. It's hard to argue against that. And he said after the game, he was interviewed after the game. He was asked, keeping leads has been something that you've been famed for during your career and something you're really good at doing. So what's the problem? He said, same coach, different players. What do you think about that comment?
It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue. These are the same players. Let's go back to the Zagreb game, right? That starting 11 was the same starting 11 under Poch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apart from two players, it was Poch's last game, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they let Poch down towards the end. And now they're letting Mourinho down. And listen, I'm not saying I'm a big Mourinho fan anymore because there's too many incidents in the team. There's, Bale's not starting. There's too many issues, too many fractions. The fan base, I've never seen a manager split our fan base this much. Like a 50 in, 50 out before. Splits in the team, splits the fan base. I still think he would be one of the managers you choose to be in a cup final, though. We've got that cup final in 3 weeks. Forget the league form. If you could choose in the pool of managers in the world, he'd be one of them you would choose to manage that cup final. Still.
Yeah,
if you'd agree with
I'd agree with that. But back onto your point where it was the same, in the Zagreb team was exactly the same as Poch's last game. Today was a much changed side. Today was a side which are full of players that he trusted from the Villa game. So what do you put that performance down today? Because today was just absolutely shocking from pretty much 5 minutes in to the end of the game. Newcastle deserved everything they got. If not, they deserve the win today.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's the manager. He's got to take responsibility. He can't take responsibility for every single individual error the players go out there and make, particularly defensively. But again, there was no cohesion. Josh hit the nail on the head earlier with the pressing. It's always Lucas who's running and pressing, and then you see two players sort of half ambling behind him. We're not playing as a unit. We're not playing as a team. That's the problem. We're disjointed from defence to midfield. You've got the players like Ndombele, who I thought was fantastic today. In terms of just carrying the ball forward, he got the assist, he's looking for a pass. There's too many times we go backwards, forwards. We have no width. Tanganga, obviously, he's not a right back. He's not the answer to right back. He's not a right back. Play the kid at centre back and see how he does in his actual position. But we're too narrow, and you can see it. We're trying to play these little intricate passes, and Newcastle were all over it. It's like Steve Bruce just looked at that and thought, easy, just pack the midfield. It was simple tactics.
Yeah, no, Shiv, I completely agree. But thanks for coming on, man. And hopefully next time under a better occasion.
I hope so, boys. If we beat United next week, I'll be much better. We're not to pull after a win, put it that way.
See you later, Shiv. Nice one.
Newcastle, they seem to have something over us. I remember under Poch.
Like our bogey team, aren't they?
I remember under Poch when in that season we were going for the title of Leicester. They did the double over us that season. They got relegated. They did the double over us that season.
We haven't beaten them at the Tottenham Stadium.
Nope.
2 games. Last one when we let it go in the last minute where we completely battered them. And then the other one when we lost 1-0 was it Joe Linton.
Joe Linton is like... He scored 5... I think he scored 3 Premier League goals and 2 of them being Spurs. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
All right, let's get Alex on. Alex.
I'm so sick of this.
Alex. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
Honestly, these players are embarrassing.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. But what'd you put it down to today?
Oh, I'm so tired of the player v manager debate and whose fault is it? It's just both. It's so old now. It's the same things over and over again. Oh, Davinson Sanchez, how many times? He's such a liability, this guy. Such a liability. I'm so sick of this. The thing is, though, is that I don't know what's happening with Alderweireld at the moment. If no one seems to, because it's just weird what's going on. How is Alderweireld not starting ahead of this guy? Maybe they had a fallout. Who knows? But I'm telling you, you know, it's the players, certain players which we all know whose fault it is, and then you go to Mourinho and you see why Tanganga, he's not a right back. It's not his best position. His best position is centre back at Tottenham. Has Mourinho ever heard of Cannavaro or others like him? Like, seriously, that you don't have to be 6'4" to be a good centre back anymore. Like, come on.
Toby Alderweireld's not the tallest. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's just, I don't like this old mentality that Mourinho brings towards managing players. Tactically, he speaks himself. You know, he's done wonders over the years for other clubs and at times Tottenham. But I think that the way he individually manages players, you know, he just causes such shenanigans with these types of players. Dele Alli, Alderweireld, Aurier. It's getting really old now, to be honest.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the defence, like, whatever defenders Mourinho chooses, nothing seems to help the situation at the moment. Let's be honest. Like, we can say, oh, he should have played Aurier, he should have played this one, that one, but like, nothing seems to change. Doesn't matter what defenders we put in. So, like, what is the solution? When we're like, is it the pool of defenders, or like, is his tactics putting too much pressure on the defence? Is that the problem?
Clearly, this defence needs helping and guidance, and I don't know. Maybe the defence simply can't handle the tactics. I do think whatever you say about Mourinho, he has been at so many clubs and he knows exactly. He's known for being a defensive manager. He knows exactly what it takes to be a defender and good qualities you need. And he's looking at most of this defense. I can't work. They're unworkable. He essentially was referencing that in his comments after the game. I can't work with this lot. And if he can't work with that, then what can you do? Joe Rodon was, I suppose, a bright spot in the defense. He actually looked pretty decent, to be honest. I'd argue maybe a bit of a steal at the price we got him. So look, it's so difficult because you can't say sack all the players, cancel their contracts. At the end of the day, it falls on the manager. It does fall on the manager, and the manager has to take responsibility no matter what way you look at it, and he will be the one getting his head on the chopping block. So I really just wish that cup final was played earlier in the season, and it wasn't played at the end of this month, because we could at least, because every time we get a bad result now, we've had so many bad results. Oh, at least we got the cup final. At least we got that. But you know, I just wish that was already solved, because it's just really what fans are clinging on to, and it's going to be. I'm not looking forward to after that game if we lose, because it is going to be toxic as hell. I'm telling you.
Do you think he should be the manager next season, Jose?
I think it depends upon, at a boardroom level, what the club are thinking. If they're thinking, okay, we'll ship out the old defence, if that makes sense. We'll bring in some fresh faces. Obviously, if we have the finances available, then I think that potentially he could do something next season. However, if they don't, I think potentially a fresh face, a fresh manager, someone like a Nagelsmann, who it seems to me would be very interested in coming to the club, I think that perhaps he could do a better job with potentially the current set of players. I don't know, because if a manager falls out with a lot of the players, you kind of have to bring someone else in my opinion.
Do you think if we do sack Jose this summer, then we're saying goodbye to the likes of Kane and Son?
I'd agree with that. I think. I mean, it summed it up today, didn't it? Kane essentially picking the rest of the squad up and carrying them on his back by getting those 2 goals. And what do? We blow it, completely blow it.
Yeah.
So I really feel for him. I'm a Tottenham fan. I'm not a Harry Kane fan, you know. But even with that, I still really feel for the guy, because he just does not deserve this anymore. He simply doesn't deserve it. It is getting beyond a joke. And I think potentially, yeah. If someone could afford him, then I think he'd be gone without a doubt this summer. It's obviously just the finances, which we aren't too sure about. We're not really sure if what's going to happen this summer. So, and obviously still nothing about a Son contract. So in answer to your question, up in the air, I suppose, but not looking great. Not looking great.
Alex, can I just say, is it a coincidence your room is looking a lot cleaner today?
What are you insinuating?
I'm asking if it's a coincidence.
I'll let you know it is not a coincidence. So, so there you go.
Thanks a lot, Alex, for coming on, bro.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We'll see you soon, bro.
Brad Matthews with the super chat says, apart from a deflected free kick against Villa in 2015, when has Kane scored from a free kick? I don't think he has
scored. He's hit the post against Arsenal. That's about it.
Yeah, and he hit the post against West Ham as well once.
Right. Once.
Back in 2017. He doesn't really do free kicks, Harry Kane. I don't know why he keeps taking them.
Let's keep going. Danny Kiriakou. I hope I got it right this time.
Yeah,
Danny,
you did. How you
nailed
guys?
it, man. I nailed it. Danny, how you doing, mate?
Nailed it today. Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. Obviously a bit shit, like everyone's feeling about how this kind of feels like a pretty much a sort of loss, and I think that's kind of feels like a bit of the nail in the coffin for the season now. As in for top four chances.
I kind of felt like I kind of felt like that
on.
today. But no, just before you carry on, I just wanted to say, is your hair today in solidarity with Gareth Bale not playing? Is that what it is?
No, do you know what? I always have my hair up. My hair's too long, like that's why. And I always have the hat on because I know sometimes when I'm at home, it's too messy. So a bit neater today. I have a bit more of a trim as well on the beard. Beard's gone. So
you're looking fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but carry on what you were saying.
Fresh. That's the problem.
Yeah, that is the problem.
I think it's kind of just for me, even before the match started, I felt it was going to be one of those kind of games. I felt after 10 minutes of watching that, you just could feel it. You just saw that there was no attitude, no passion, and it was like they were in fourth gear most of the match, right? And then you got these like little bursts where for like 30 seconds or a minute or a couple minutes, you see them, okay, you think they're going to start turning it on again. And then they don't. They fail to deceive us once again. And obviously, again, the defence were making some really poor decisions. And for me, obviously we heard what happened about Aurier and Toby about them not having their COVID test, right? But if that isn't true, for example, for me, I didn't want Tanganga starting as right back today. I wanted him to play at centre back because Sanchez, right? I know he has been. You get that he's been playing well lately, and he's merited kind of starting in a sense. But Tanganga, for me, he's not a right back. Is not a right back, and you saw it today. Like he couldn't go forward. He kept passing back all the time. He looked nervous, like passing going forward. And Sanchez again, he just looked like there was no concentration whatsoever. It's like his head was in somewhere completely different. He just looked like he wasn't even in the game. Like he just looked like he was ball watching all the time. He just was making mistakes all the time, and it could have been a lot worse. To be honest, today I think if Newcastle would put some of their chances away, it could have been a lot worse. I don't know where we go from here, boys, because the thing is, right, I do feel that it is after today, right. I mean, I've been backing Jose all season, but after today, it's you kind of feel like you can't give him the benefit of the doubt anymore. It's kind of like it is partly his fault because it's his selection choices, right? And for me, I don't know why he did not bring Gareth Bale on sooner. He brings him on with 3 minutes to go. He's not going to do anything in 3 minutes. And then you think, oh, is he going to score the free kick? But of course not. He smashes it completely wide. And yeah, it's frustrating because I honestly think Lo Celso had quite a bad game. If you want my honest opinion,
yeah,
I think he should have come off a lot sooner, and maybe Lamela come on for him sooner on, or something like that, or Bale to come on. But it's just some of his decision making again with selection. It's just it just, you kind of think like, what are you doing? Like, honestly, what the hell are you doing? It kind of, it's like you think that he's going to make a good decision, but he keeps making these terrible selection choices. So I don't know whether changing the manager. I mean, people are saying, yeah, you can change a manager and it's going to maybe make these players better, but it's partly the players. I agree with what some people said before, that the players he's got to work with, like the centre backs he's got, they are awful. They are awful, right? And sorry, I'm just reading the background. Yeah, and it also, it's partly him as well. So I honestly, I think, like Alex was saying just before, right? If the board decide to back Jose, and really, for me, I was speaking to Brian about this today. I think that what he needs to do is get rid of a lot of his players, as much as he can get rid of in the summer, and they need to just spend the money on one class centre back. They need to get a top quality centre back, because that's what we need. If we just get another promising centre back, I just think we're going to be maybe a little bit better than this season, but I don't think it's going to make a massive difference. They need a top centre back if we really want to improve, because look at where we were, right? When we were with Poch, when we had Jan and Toby, right? They were classed as the best centre backs in the league, and potentially some of the best centre backs in Europe at the time we had them, for those when they were in their peak years, right? And we were consistently good at the back because we had top centre backs. And the problem we've got is, right, today, what I saw today is that there were no leaders in that line, in that back line, right? There were completely no leaders whatsoever. Every single one of them, it was like there was communication problems. I mean, for the second goal, you see Sanchez running into Rodon. It's like he's watching the ball. He doesn't even see Rodon. And he stopped Rodon from going to try and track back. And he's completely like stopped him. And it's just like, are you fucking stupid? Like, really, honestly. And I love Reguilon, right? We all love Reguilon. But today, he was defensively, he was poor as well. He was all over the place today.
He was.
And I just think that they need someone who is a proper leader in the back line, who can control that back line and tell everyone what they need to do and where they need to be positioned. Because without that, it's just like they're all over the place. And today, it was like
isn't that what Jose wanted though in the summer? He was desperate for that. He was desperate for a new centre back.
But
so the fact that is it his fault we didn't get one?
That's the board's fault. That's the board's fault, because they didn't. They got all these players in, and they didn't get the one thing that he wanted. The one thing that he wanted. So again, it's going to come down to the board. And the problem is, if anyone's going to be put the blow. So if someone's going to be accounted for the blame, it's going to be the manager, right? So Jose will get, if they decide to sack him, if we don't win the League Cup and we say we finish 6th, if they decide to keep him, you only have one option. You only have to back him. If you don't back him, then what will happen is, if Kane, say, for example, decides to stay one more season, I think he'll go the season after, because I don't think we're going to get any better if they don't back him. And the problem is, right, is that I kind of feel for Kane a lot, because he is carrying our team, right? He's carrying this team completely. And the rest of the players, I mean, apart from, I would say, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Kane, and I think Rodon played well today. Like, I think the rest of them, a lot of the time, they're just not there. And I just feel, that they need. Oh, do you know what, man? It's just, I'm so frustrated, right? I can't even think now. I've just lost what I'm saying.
I know exactly how you feel, Danny, man. I mean, it's really hard to take, because it's just every time we can get to a certain stage, we just can't go that little bit extra further to get into that top 4. I mean, it's just so frustrating, and I'm struggling to see a way around it apart from Jose leaving it, I'm afraid. I mean, that's the only conclusion I can really come to. I mean, how many times are we going to go through the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, I agree. I honestly, I think we still need a bit rebuild, right? But do you think Mourinho is going to be the one who should rebuild us, and when he hasn't got a philosophy or a style? Like, I think what they need to do really is bring in a manager where, if they decide to sack him, they need to bring in a manager like a Nagelsmann or someone like that, who's going to have a style, have a philosophy, who's good, who wants to work with the young players, and who can make people and motivate people better. Because I do feel that Mourinho at times, he doesn't motivate. It's like you just get this feeling, right, that he doesn't motivate them in the right way, like how he should motivate them. It's like, it's just, it's hard to say, because we're not in the dressing room, right, and we can't see what he's like. But it's just you get that kind of like feeling that that's what he's like, and I don't know, man. It's just.
But
it's
have we progressed since he's taken us over at all?
See, I think to an extent, I think we've progressed it from where we were last year. I think we've progressed, but it's marginally. It's such fine lines, and he's probably made the team slightly better than what we were last year. Because let's be honest, we weren't great last year either. We were awful. And I think he's probably made them slightly better. But again, he wasn't backed in the right way. And that comes down to the board. He wanted Skriniar or Diaz, and what did they do? They didn't sign anyone until the window had actually shut, and it was only when the English window was extended for then they went and got Joe Rodon, and even he's hardly played all season. Only now he's playing. He's played like a couple games, and that's it. So the problem is as well, Jose not knowing his back four consistently and chopping and changes also caused us problems because all the players, they don't know how to play with each other, and it's like one day he's changing the right back, one day he's changing the left centre back, one day he's changing the left back, one day he's changing the right centre back. Or
yeah, because they keep making mistakes. What can we do? We can't criticise him for keep picking his players, then criticise him for keep changing them at the same time.
No, yeah, I agree. It is what he's got to work with, but yeah, it is partly his fault as well as the players. So for me, unless they back him, then I think we're going to be in for another bad season. And the problem is as well, I think Kane, because of how good he's been this season, I think he's kind of effed himself up in terms of what value he's put on himself and what his worth is at Tottenham, because there's not going to be a lot of clubs who are going to pay what Levy wants, right? Especially with what's out there now. You never know. And the thing is, right, I think for Kane to leave, he needs to hand in a transfer request, and then obviously someone has to pay what Levy wants. But I just can't see the figures that they're talking about, 150 million, 175 million. I can't see anyone paying that for Kane. So I don't know, man. It's just, I mean, I feel, right, now this is going to be an unpopular opinion, right, but I think the only way we're going to actually try and rebuild is to get rid of Kane. And I don't want him to go because I absolutely love Kane. I think he is Mr. Tottenham, right? And he is what makes us he's put us where we are this season. And the thing is, right, even though saying that, do we actually think that ENIC, right, will actually use the money that they would generate from Kane fully to reinvest in the team? And I don't think so. So that's where another problem lies. So again, it just goes back to the board again. So we're really in a catch-22, man. We're honestly in a catch-22 situation.
I think they would spend the Kane money on players because they did spend all of the Bell money on players, but they just didn't spend it in the right way.
Yeah, but do you think they're going to spend it in the right way with Steve Hitch in there? Do you think they're going to go and spend 60 million on Skriniar? Do you think they're going to go and spend?
I have no faith in Steve Hitchin whatsoever.
No, whatsoever. And that's the problem. It's quality, not quantity. I would rather have 3 top-class players for 50 million apiece, right? If we were to sell Harry Kane, for example, than get 7 players that are hopefuls or youngsters that maybe might turn good. Because that's not what we need. When you take someone like Kane out, he's 2 players essentially, right? Kane is basically our Eriksen and our Harry Kane at the same time this season. He's basically our creator and our goal scorer, right? The numbers don't lie. So if you take him out of the team, you need to have a really good striker and a really good creator. And who's out there unless you spend big money? Not a lot.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Danny, before we let you go, I just wanted to ask you. There's a guy we know around Tottenham. We see him home and away a lot throughout the years. Are you related to him, Alex Kyriakou?
Yeah, Kyriakou is a very popular Greek name. It's it's like Smith in English. So there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. I don't think I'm related, but if you showed me a face, I might actually know of him.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Anyway, thanks for coming on, man.
Nice
Cheers,
one, Danny.
lads.
Good to see you, mate.
See you later, mate. All right, let's go, Cody Mack. I just want to say happy Easter to you all. Number 1 Tottenham Hotspur egghead is Cody Mack today. So there you go.
Oh, for God's sake, what have we just witnessed, boys? Honestly, what
Absolute
what was
disgrace.
that?
A shambles, mate.
You know what? I've got 2 theories. Okay, theory number 1 is in a previous life, I was a horrible criminal and I have been reincarnated as a Spurs fan as punishment. Theory number 2, I am actually dead and I am in hell, and this is my punishment, is just repeatedly being subjected to these types of performances. It's just, I mean, come on, like, I know, like, mathematically you look at the table and it's like, yeah, top 4 still a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But did that look like a top 4 team to you today? I mean, we weren't even the best team on the pitch. That was just absolutely diabolical. And I don't know how you can explain that.
What are the answers, Cody? Are you starting to question the manager?
Well, look, Jose, he looks like he's may be running out of ideas, that's for sure. But how many times can he make changes? You know, I think I didn't have any disagreements with the starting 11. I do think that we haven't learned our lesson from the previous mistakes of trying to protect 1-goal leads. We haven't learned that we just don't have the defensive capability to hold on to these leads. And we really should have probably brought Gareth Bale on instead of Eric Lamela, because you know that Lamela was brought in because of his defensive efforts, right? I mean, you know what? Here's one thing I will say. We need to lower our expectations for the rest of the year. We do, because after a performance like that, you just can't say that we deserve anything from this season. You know, we've had 8 performances like that now, and like 3 of the last 5 games that I've witnessed as a Spurs fan have been 3 of the worst performances that I've ever seen, and it's just absolutely. I mean, Davinson Sanchez made my skin crawl today every time that he touched the ball.
My God.
And you know what? The players, here's one of the biggest problems that Jose has right now. The players that are being left out, not because they don't have the talent, but because they have shown either a lack of ability or a lack of willingness to play for the badge, or a lack of loyalty to Jose, whatever it is. We need our best players to be on the pitch and be playing well, and they're just not presenting themselves as viable options for the manager to choose. So we're left to put out this unrecognizable squad playing in a formation that is foreign to the team, and like, yeah, Lo Celso hasn't looked good either of the last 2 games, and I don't want to put too much on him, but we have multiple players that are being asked to play out of position in a formation that is completely foreign. So it's just like, I don't know what the answers are, but increasingly I'm starting to think that if we don't get proper investment, I think we need to spend 100 million in the summer, and we need to do it smartly. You know, it's either that or we're looking at a full scale rebuild, full scale, blowing it up right to the foundation. And that's really disheartening. It's absolutely disheartening. I mean, fuck's sake. That was just diabolical.
Every time we have a chance to really force the issue in terms of breaking the top 4, or even, you know, going top of the league and all these kind of things, we always blow the opportunity every step of the way. I think this team just loves chasing, doesn't it? We love to chase things, and then we actually have a chance to do it, and we never actually bring ourselves to a position where we can actually go into that top 4, what we want to achieve. Like, what it's so difficult to analyze in terms of what the real problem is, and where the real issue is. Is it with the players or with the manager, or is it with both? I think people are obviously having this big debate online about what the real problem is, but you got to see with Newcastle today, 22 shots, for a team near 17th. Not only that, they had 17 shots inside the box. For a team like Newcastle, who are one of the most defensive teams in the league, like, they probably haven't had 17 shots in the box all season, let alone in one game. Like, how do you explain how they can manage that? Like, how do you explain it other than it's a systemic thing?
And they accumulated over 4 XG. It's like,
that's a joke. It's a joke.
They haven't put in a performance anywhere close to that offensively this season, and for them to come out and play like that, and for us to let them, I mean, it's just an absolute disgrace, and I can't explain it. It's unforgivable. And the thing is, every time something like this happens, it's like a new bar that is being set lower and lower and lower, and it's just like, how bad can we possibly be? Like, how can we keep getting worse? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm just at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for thoughts about it. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know. Now that we're all low like this, we probably go out and beat Manchester United next week just so we get sucked back in. You know what I mean?
That's how it works
But
with Spurs.
just-
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm frustrated. Anyway,
I know
Cody.
exactly how you feel, Cody. But look, a pleasure to have you on as always.
Good to see you, Cody.
Hashtag Team Ben. See you later, mate.
Yeah.
Sim,
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, let's keep going. Who we got on next? Brian,
Brian,
man. What more can we say?
How we doing, lads?
Absolutely distraught, man. Absolutely distraught. I mean, when you just thought it couldn't get worse, it got worse.
Let's talk about our beloved Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes.
That's what we need to do. We are pathetic. We are a disgrace. The team looks like 11 friends have just gone down the park and put jumpers for goalposts and just playing whatever position you like.
Yeah.
There's no cohesion. There's no understanding. There's no philosophy. There's no mentality. We are rotten. And I'm not going in on Levy. I'm not doing it. It's still Pacer. From Lewis to him to Hitchin to the management to the players to the only thing that we can have at the moment that is any good is the youth prospects coming through. That is it.
Yeah, that is it. And how do we move forward from here, though, Brian?
Do you know what? I you know how I feel. I would always say, get rid of that cancer that's at the club, but it doesn't matter. There is something rotten to the core at our beloved football club, and the whole club needs fumigating, basically, because there is something going on there. How many times? You know what? The way I've described it as well, we are the biggest cock tease of a club in the world. We do all the hard work to get us there just to block ourselves. That's all we do. We get all excited. Oh, yeah, forces ours. Wiki, look at all these results. Should be Newcastle, a diabolical Newcastle team.
It's probably the worst Newcastle team I've seen in my fucking lifetime.
It is. Like you said, how many shots did they have?
22.
They had 17 inside the box, man. Inside the box.
It's ridiculous.
That's without Wilson or say Maximum. They're pretty much the only two attacking threats that they have.
Listen, if Harry Kane does not leave this summer, he's got something wrong with him.
Yeah.
That has just been the death. That has been the signing of him going. Why should he stay? He's given us everything. He bleeds blue and white. Scores, creates, plays at number 10, plays at number 9, plays at number 8, plays at number 6, plays in defence. For what?
I can't tell you, Brian. I think you're absolutely spot on. And if Harry Kane doesn't leave this summer, then maybe he lacks ambition.
Do you know what? He must. I mean, God bless him. I mean, I know if I was in Harry Kane, Tottenham is my Real Madrid, it's my Barcelona. I wouldn't want to leave anywhere. But how many lies or how many things has he been promised and it never comes true? Never, ever. And like Danny said, we need to sell as much as we can, raise 75 million, go to Inter Milan and go, here you go, you want 75, like Liverpool did. When Liverpool tried to get Van Dijk and it didn't happen in the summer, when Van Dijk started kicking off a fuss, they waited. They got in touch with him before January and said, how much do you want for Van Dijk? 75 million. Bang, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that Jose can do more with this squad, or is it just a bit like flogging a dead horse a bit with this squad at the moment?
Ben, you and me have had this conversation. A load of fans, Sim, we've had this conversation time and time again. We're on a Tottenham Hotspur merry-go-round where nothing ever changes. It's basically Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where we think we find the solution, go, yeah, that's the missing piece. It don't work out. Oh no, we need this striker or this. No, it's not that. There is something going on at this club. And
no, completely agree.
It doesn't. We're entering the Bermuda Triangle, where no one knows where we are or no one knows where we're going. There's nothing. I can't think of a thing. I can't say get rid of Jose Although he takes a lot of responsibility, but the players today need to take a hell of a lot of responsibility, a hell of a lot. But it doesn't matter what we do. There's Steve Hitchin, honestly, like I've said, go get Stevie Wonder and say, listen, I need you to find me some players. He's got a better chance. And he probably can negotiate with the players better than Hitchin. I'm Stevie Wonder. I'm a multi-billionaire. I've sold multi-billion records. Here we go. Come to the club. Oh, yeah, okay.
I feel like that's all we're doing anyway, just randomly going for players anyway. We'll probably have better luck.
Yeah, Hitchin couldn't sell a black cat to a witch.
Yeah.
He just couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, look, it's hard to argue. But look, any closing words from you?
Can we wake up and just think this was all a dream, and then we're going to?
Can we wake up in prime Poch, please?
League. Oh, mate, I just don't even know where we go. And the thing is, it's just typical now. And knowing Tottenham will beat United, and this will be. It'll be like if only we beat Newcastle. If only we hadn't drawn with Newcastle. It's just the same nonsense, and I'm tired. I'm tired of coming on and having to talk like this and have the same discussion with you week after week. Unfortunately,
I agree.
All right, Brian, absolute pleasure as always. Hopefully
and
next weekend under better circumstances.
Next weekend, yeah. See you later, boys.
See you, Brian.
It's
tough again after
so tough,
like that, man.
It really is. Let's get Will Stewart on THFC Rants.
Come on, Will.
Will, talk to me, man.
I'm gonna do my best not to yell and scream on your guys' show.
You're allowed
like
to yell and scream, man. Your name is THFC Rants, so rant away.
Yeah, I mean that's look. There's two things right now that are really frustrating me. One is all of this people picking one side or the other about today's performance when both parties were at fault. Like anybody who says it was 100% Jose is being not fair, and anybody who says it's 100% the players is not being fair. They were both parties were horrid today, absolutely horrid. And if you don't give credit to both sides, you're not being honest. You're just trying to prove your point. Okay, first of all. Second of all, people who are coming out with opinions like Lamela should have started today. Are you serious with me right now? Are you serious with me right now?
Coming from the
Son
number one
Heung-min in 9
9
miles of space on the right-hand side, and because Lamela, a 28-year-old footballer, air quote footballer, has no right foot, he can't play the ball to him there.
It wasn't only that one. There was one with Ndombele as well, where you could have played Ndombele in on goal, and he decided to wait too long on the ball.
And not only that, but people want to see what's wrong with his team right now. And I think that a lot of people are overlooking it because of the fact that he's been so good for us this season. But Pierre-Emile Højbjerg was absolutely horrible today in the second half.
Oh,
horrid.
Really?
There were gaps of space. There were holes the size of planets in our midfield that the Newcastle attackers were filling in, and that's how they had 7. You want to know why they had 22 shots and 17 of them in the box is because there were holes the size of planets in our midfield.
Yeah,
there were holes the size of planets in the midfield.
I didn't think Højbjerg was bad today. I actually thought he was one of our better players off the ball. I think maybe partnering him with Lo Celso and Ndombele, they need to learn that central midfield role a bit more in that sense. But I don't think Højbjerg was the main problem in that. Especially, I think he won the ball quite a few times today. I don't think he was the main problem. But I think in terms of our defence, I think Tanganga, Sanchez, and Reguilon were all absolutely shambolic, and that's like, look at that first goal. Tanganga tries to pass the ball up the line, it gets blocked. Falls to Sanchez, he tries to pull up the ball up the line. Got blocked by the same player, and we end up giving the ball to them inside our own box, and they score. That's how they got the first goal. That had nothing to do with midfield.
Right, but what I'm saying is that one specific goal, but just the whole field, the whole run of play. Right, balls are coming into the midfield, or passes are coming from out of the back line and dropping into our midfield, and there's no one there putting pressure on the ball.
Yeah.
You have the defense was getting peppered because the midfield was completely open. Any ball that would go 15, 20 yards outside the 18-yard box was just completely there for the taking for Newcastle. There was nobody there to pick it up, nobody there to step it up. And then it's one or two balls out into the wing or in the half space, and they've got a shot on goal. The back line and the defensive midfield were too close to each other. they were almost playing 7 across at times. And there was nobody filling that hole. There was gaps the size of planets in the mid. I'm watching back. I'm telling you, it made me so angry. So angry. And, I just...
But this is the same. He played the same unchanged lineup from when we beat Villa a few weeks ago. So we put in a performance on that day. Maybe it wasn't stellar, but it was a performance that we didn't give away too many chances, and it showed we can definitely put in a good performance against a side probably better, even without Grealish. They're probably definitely better than Newcastle. So why today against a team 17th in the league are we allowing 17 shots inside our own box? How is that happening?
It always happens to us after an international break. It always happens to us after an international break. I think we went in too confident. I thought that this is what I think the problem is. I think the mentality is that these players think that they're better than they are right now, that they're better, that they deserve more than what they've got right now. Mm-hmm. Because even if Jose is telling you to sit back and sit on the ball and absorb pressure or do whatever you want to do, when do you as a man realize at what point in the match do you realize as a man and raise your middle finger up to him on the sideline and just go out and get it yourself, right? Why don't we have players with that mentality? I don't understand, because the manager's not on the pitch playing. He can get on him before the game. He can get on him after the game. He can get on him at halftime, right? But he can't go out there and force people to do certain things. And if Lamella's coming on as a right wing, why is he over there with Reguilon 90% of the match on the left, forcing Ndombele to have to fill that hole on the right? Cramming up the midfield. Jose's selections were horrible. His substitution timings were horrible. He made horrible choices. Everybody's at fault today. Nobody should be out there pointing fingers at other people on that team. Mourinho shouldn't be pointing fingers at the players. The players shouldn't be pointing fingers at each other. Everyone, except for maybe Hugo Reis, if he had to stop 22 shots today. I mean, obviously not all of those were on target, but only positive out of this, and I'll let the next guest come on. Is at least with that 1 point, if West Ham bottles it tomorrow, we're in 5th place by ourselves. That's it. And West Ham and Leicester have to play each other next week as we play Manchester United. So we're not out of it yet.
We're not out of it, but when we keep conceding these goals,
tougher.
It's not just makes it tougher. It's like, do you deserve to be in it in a way? Like, I don't want to make it there through default. You want to earn it, and obviously the league table never lies and that. But it's just frustrating where a team like Newcastle without Wilson and Maximum as well, they're 2 key threats, and not even have it on the pitch, and we still can't get over the line. It's like ultimately extremely frustrating.
Yeah, the show tonight's going to be crazy. I can tell you that right now.
Well, always good to hear from you, mate. And
anyway,
we'll speak
come
to you
on,
in a bit.
Spurs. Stay strong, stay
Come on,
Spurs. Let's go.
And lastly, we'll get Marcelo on. What's up, Marcelo? In his Brazil shirt.
Yeah, I had to I took off the jersey, man. I literally took off the shirt. As soon as I saw Willock, of course, the Gooner scored the goal, I literally took off. I couldn't stand it, man. I was disgusted. You know what I mean? I was disgusted by today's performance. I had to wear a shirt of a real player. You know what I mean? Like a real player, man. So I got my R9, 1998 jersey. So, I'm going to be wearing that for right now, because I can't like this club, bro. Blue Balls FC, we're back, baby. Blue Balls FC is back again. Tottenham Hotspurs, let's go, baby. This is gonna be a well-structured rant. I'm gonna start off with 3. First with the board, then with the players, and then with Jose. This board, bro, what are we doing? Like, seriously, where are we going? Are we gonna spend, or are we waiting for like a miracle to happen? Because they say we need to get top 4 to spend money, but it's like you want to reach your goal without investing, and then invest when you reach your goal. Like that, like how does that work? You need to invest to reach your goals, and then when you reach that objective of the season, you build upon it, right? We saw that with Liverpool. They won the Premier League. They didn't build upon that, and they're suffering for it.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw beforehand, the objective was get top 4, sell a big player, and build upon that. And that worked out. Like, this board has no game plan, bro. It's free limbo. One day we can spend, one day we can't spend, one day we can sack Jose, the other day we don't have money to sack Jose. It's all over the place. There's no communication with the fans. There's no trust between the board and the fans. And this board, Steve, like, you know, like, we have a system, buy and sell, right? And that's their excuse. That's their excuse to not go in the transfer market and do anything. They say, oh, we have to sell to buy players. Well, then, okay, get a guy that can sell and buy players. We had Luis Campos out there for months in the market, and we never even, like, we didn't even try. We didn't even try, man. And it's just like, now he's going to Real Madrid, and Real Madrid is, I guarantee you, Luis Campos is going to, you know, rejuvenate them. And we're going to be stuck with Steve Hitchen, who can't even sell, like, you know, sand to an Arab. You know what I mean? He couldn't sell water to a thirsty man. He's a joke, man. You know, like, you want to get this business model, but you take every shortcut to do it. You know, you keep taking shortcuts, your business is going to crumble. Like, you have to spend certain money to make money. Like these guys talk to themselves that they pride themselves about being great businessmen. You're not great businessmen. That's not good business. You can ask any businessman. You need to spend money to make money. Like, these guys are not businessmen. They're cheapskates. You know, they use us. They use this club. They drain the soul of this club. They use me and you. You know, we talk about Harry Kane, Son, and all these guys and how they don't deserve that. Bro, screw that. I don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. None of us deserve this. You know, we've been starved for so long.
But
you know, we're a big club. We have a big fan base.
I know, but let's talk about the game. Let's talk about what actually happened during the 90 minutes.
No, I'm going to get to that. Yeah, no, I'm going to get to that. Now the players.
All right, come on.
Sanchez, what is he still doing at this club, bro? Like, why is he still being played? Like, honestly, I'd rather get you out there, you know? Like, honestly, bro, I'm just done. You know what I mean? Some of these players, it's like almost they never play football in their lives. And it's just like, some of the passing was just so dreadful. It's like we look so lethargic every time we have a chance to do something. They bottle it over and over again. You know what I mean? They're such losers. They're such wimps, bro. They can't hold any pressure. They can't stand any pressure. Anytime you put any little pressure on them, they just crumble, bro. And it happened today, and it's gonna happen again. Like, that's what I'm like. Sometimes, like, obviously, you know, with Pochettino, we were able to get top 4. We were able to get the hurdle. With us, it was mainly getting the trophy, getting that one step. But personally, you know, looking back, you know, we just never had the finances. We never made the finances to win trophies. For me, it was really Pochettino overachieving. But, like, you know, some of these guys, man, they have to go. You know, like Sanchez, some of these French players, it's enough. Enough. You have to sell. I don't care. Like, no excuses. They've been here long enough. Their time is done. You know, Lamella, guy is 28 years old, and, you know, he still can't, you know, make a pass with 2 feet. You know what I mean? Like, when and then, you know, we are the only fan base that can make an excuse and say, oh, but he gives enough energy. He's a good squad player. Like, part of it is also our fault as a fan base, bro. Because I still have to, you know what? Like, some people do deserve this, bro. Because the fact that I've had so many discussions with people about Ben Davies and Eric Lamella and all these stuff, you know, and the fact that there's so many people still out there defending them is part of the problem. Like, you got to raise your expectations. Like, if you can't say and tell me that you want to win Premier Leagues, you want to do all this, and then defend Eric Lamella. Like, like, these players are crap. Some of these players need to go, and I do feel bad in Mourinho in some ways because he has I think he has a really good starting 11. He has a really good starting 11, but when that starting 11 starts, you know, get some entries, he depends on some players that, like, you just, you know, they're just gone, man. They're just done at this club. But then third, I'm gonna get to the manager, bro. Regardless of what he has, no excuses tonight, bro. Again, we get absolutely played off the park by a team so much lesser than us. You cannot tell me Newcastle is any way, shape, or form better than this Spurs starting 11. No way. And you know what? You can't say the old excuse this time of saying, oh, but he had Pochettino's French players. He had like the Sissoko and Winks. Those guys didn't play. A lot of the players out there was his players, bro. And you know what? He can go out in the media and say, oh, but like I tell them to attack. BS, bro. Bullshit. I'm sorry. Performances speak, not words. Words are hollow to me. Performances speak. And how many times have we seen this happen? Absolutely shocking. We get a goal up, we get a lead, and then we just sit back and allow these horrible teams to get back in the game. You cannot tell me we don't have a squad to play Newcastle off the park, to hold possession against Newcastle, to not allow Newcastle have the ball, to dominate them. You can't tell me you don't have that squad. If Brian can do it, teams like Fulham can do it. These relegation sides that have half of the resources that Jose does can do it. I'm sorry, that's an underachievement from the manager as well. Even in Pochettino's first season, I will say this: it wasn't easy, bro. There was some tough losses, and Pochettino got lucky with that Kane deflection, and it saved him his job. But I will say this: under his first season, I was a big believer in Pochettino because I saw a style of play, and I have yet to see a style of play under Jose Mourinho, a consistent style of play at least.
Would you not say
though
under Jose? Like I think we've lost 13 points in the last 15 minutes of games this season. That have cost us so many goals. I think it's 9 or 10 goals we've conceded in the last 15 minutes of games, where we should really be either putting them to bed or shutting up shop. Like, do you not think if we had better set of defenders, then you add a few more of those points in, we could be second or second place.
I agree with
then
you.
You'd say, and then you could say, then people wouldn't be saying, "Oh, I don't believe in his style of play" and things like that. But because the set of defenders we have, keeps costing us points after points after points, is there no argument to say that?
But I will say this: no, there is a little bit of an argument there. I will agree. The defending is absolutely spineless. I agree with that. Like, some of these guys are spineless. But I also believe that if you're a great manager, and this guy is touted to be a great manager, his CV is fantastic, right? When he came in, I was pumped. We were pumped. He has done great things, but he's got to show it at some time. Because a great manager has to adapt. You saw how many times Pochettino had to adapt. Listen, yeah, call it a one-off game. I don't care, bro. This is for me like a one-off game. You know what I mean? Players are going to be coming back. He's going to get more options. Toby's going to be coming back. You know what I mean? So he's going to have more options after that. But if you can beat Manchester City that season, right, when they were the best team in Europe, with an old Wijnaldum, with Sissoko, with a barely fit Danny Rose, with no Harry Kane, and you're able to adapt to where you can do these things, then surely Jose Mourinho should be able to adapt and beat Newcastle, because most of those were his players. The only French player there was Sanchez and Lamela coming off the bench. Those are the only real French players that Pochettino era. So for me, he has to do more. He has to adapt more. He has to do better, because a great manager has to adapt. Even every manager loses certain players. Every manager goes through phases where he has to play a French player here and there that he can't rely on. I mean, if you look at Leicester has been riddled with injuries throughout the season. They struggled, and he's still keeping it up. Jurgen Klopp, he's finding a way now back. They're looking pretty good now. I mean, and he's had a pandemic. What he had is what we had last season when we lost all of our players. So he suffered through a pandemic of injuries, man. So I think if Pochettino, with zero net spending, right? Zero net spending, losing two of his best midfielders in Wijnaldum and Dembele that season, right? And with injuries and everything, and yes, it wasn't the prettiest season at the end of the segue, but if he can get top four into a Champions League final, I'm sorry, Jose Mourinho should be doing more and should adapt to beat freaking Newcastle. If this was United, if this was something else, I could understand.
To be fair, in Pochettino's, the season where we were challenging Leicester, Newcastle did the double over us that season. They got relegated.
They did. That's true. But the thing is, Newcastle is our bogey team. That is true. They definitely beat it, but like the performance isn't inspiring, is it? Like,
Agreed.
can you look at that? Like that
Yep.
doesn't show me a
agree.
performance where I'm like, you know what? I believe this manager. We got a great style. You know what I mean? Maybe we're just unlucky because a lot of those games we were unlucky against Newcastle. You know, we were dominating possession, we were creating chances, but you know, it's almost like what we do to City. You know, we create chances, we can't hit, you know, the net, and then they have one shot on target and they beat us. It's like, you know, you hold up your hands. Like the first Newcastle game, you know, when we got screwed by VAR, I didn't blame Jose. I'm like, that's just you know,
bullshit,
football. It's just bullshit. It's football, man. But like that performance, and it's not
But
just
today it
that
wasn't
this
like
game.
that,
Yeah, and it wasn't just this game. It's been many games where we've had this type of performance, and it's really uninspiring, man. And it's making me question this manager quite a lot. You know, like it really is, because if we had a style of play, and you know, maybe we're getting unlucky, or maybe we're just losing to better teams, I can stomach that, bro. But I can't stomach this. I can't stomach this type of performance. But you know, we keep on trucking, bro. You know, top four. Believe it or not, this season is so you know, mixed bag. You know, you can also say the same thing about Chelsea, that they don't deserve top four. They just conceded, you know, 5 goals to, you know, freaking West Brom. So, you know, they're shambolic as well. So, you know, it's one of those seasons where everybody's been shocking, really. So top four is not gone. I do feel like Mourinho, if he wants to keep his job, he has to get top four. I think that this job really relies a lot on that. But we got to keep on trucking. We got to keep on believing. But today I'm absolutely disgusted. I'm absolutely disgusted with this squad, this manager, and this board. You know, everything in a whole. It's just not a fun day. So come on, you Spurs. We go on.
you Spurs.
Let's try to get something from United.
Nice one, Marcelo. We've got some super chat here from 3 super chats from Craig Silver. One of them says, is it the case that the ultimate statement is to boycott and stop going to the games when allowed? If this continues, it's Enoch/Levy the main issue. Dan Kiriakou says, I forgot to add, every time Kane takes free kicks, he hits the wall. It's the one thing he can't do. He needs to stop taking free kicks. And Kieran Abbott says, Jose made some interesting comments after today when asked why we concede so many goals compared to the old days. He says, same coach, different players. That is true. He did say that. Are we going to play it? No, just saying the post-match press conference for Jose Mourinho is now live on the channel, so go check that out if you want to see the full press conference. So yeah, that's if you want to see all what Jose Mourinho had to say on our 2-2 draw today. He had some interesting things to say in his post-match comments. So go check that out on the channel. It is now live. But yeah, let's get the next guest on. Charlie, what's going on, Charlie?
Guys.
You all right, mate? Yeah, not great. How are you doing?
Not good at all. Like, I'm quite frankly I've had enough. I've had enough. It's the same shit every single game. Well, every other game, I should say. Literally every other game this season, same shit. Like, I can name so many. Newcastle at home, Newcastle away today, Wolves, Palace, Fulham at home. There's probably more in there that I can't think of, but that's just a few. And you were saying one of the stats about 13 points dropped from in the last 10 minutes or something. That is a disgrace for a team that wants to be getting in the top 4 and trying to compete, because we're not going to compete with sort of things like that. And I want to, similar to what Marcelo did, I want to kind of structure this, because there's a lot of points that need to be addressed here. Like we'll start with the players first of all, because it's the same story as I said, and the mentality is quite frankly shocking. Like I'm stunned to think that grown men in their 20s have such weak mentalities. These are grown men. I've literally got to that point where it's like it's childish. It's not even disgraceful. It's just childish, quite frankly. The mentality that these grown men have in doing a job where they're getting paid a lot of money. Like, come on, let's be real. These guys don't care, and it's really painful to say, because we allowed Newcastle, who get battered. This is the worst Newcastle team I've ever seen, quite frankly. I don't think I've seen a worse Newcastle side than this. But we allowed them 22 shots to Joe Linton up front and Dwight Gale. Genuinely, how many goals do they have between them this season? It's probably something ridiculously low, but. And this was without St. Maximum and Wilson. That's the worst thing. This was without their best players. And as I said, they got battered by Brighton. before the international break, and we made them look like prime Barcelona today. That's the thing that's hard to take. And I've just, as I said earlier on, I've just had enough of these spineless players and these spineless defenders continuously costing our points week in, week out. And pretty much as the reason why we're not in the top four, because I actually calculated the other day, we'd be second if it wasn't for individual mistakes this season. Second, and that's insane to think. We'd be second without these individual mistakes by brainless defenders that just I don't know how some of them are still here. And I said this before: get rid of the dead wood. It's the only way we're going to move forward. We will not move forward if these guys are still here next season, and it's that simple. The only way we can progress is if we get rid of these weak-minded bottlers that continuously bottle. Like, you look at it, right? Nearly won the FA Cup, nearly won the Carabao Cup, nearly won the Champions League, nearly won the Premier League twice. Literally nearly FC, and that's my biggest concern. That a lot of the same bottle jobs are the players that were here under core Poch. And I know a lot of them didn't play today. However, that brings me on to my next point, and that comes onto the board. And I think they're at fault for this, as we know, the lack of investment and everything. But in terms of the mentality, I think it all starts at the top. It stems from the top and it trickles all the way down to the manager, to the coaches, to the players, whoever it is. It starts right from the top, and they have put us in this situation because they're the ones they're the important people at the club with the losing mentality. They're the ones that don't show the ambition that the other clubs do to go and improve the team and go and compete. So it all starts from the top. They're the biggest problem here with their weak mentalities, which, as I said, it trickles down to the players, which gives them a weak mentality, and the whole club's a shambles. And I want to get onto the manager as well, because I said after the Zagreb game that I said that I think he will be sacked eventually, and I stick by what I said despite the Villa game. I said that we can go and win. First of all, I said we can go and win the last 9 games and win the cup. It doesn't change my opinion that we need to ship out so much deadwood this summer, because the only way we're going to consistently compete is if we ship them out. And I think the manager does have to take responsibility, because I think we're underachieving. I do. I think our squad, despite everything I just said, there is players in there that we should be better. We should be doing better than we are. There's no excuse to play the way we did today. Like, I'm sorry, we shouldn't be getting played off the park by Newcastle. We're much better. We're much better than that. Despite everything I said about these players, they should not be getting outplayed by a team that, as I said, have just been shit all season. That's where I can sort of blame the manager, because the biggest problem with the manager is I just don't see an identity. There's such a lack of identity. I don't see a certain style that I can just sort of cling on to, that I can say, right, if we can get the players, it will be better. And I'm sure, look, if we do get the players in with Jose, I'm sure it will be better. However, I just think he should be doing better with what he's got. But the sad reality is that maybe we just have to accept now that what he's got, we us fans, we might think is better than what they actually are. Let's be honest. Like we could, as I just said, I said we shouldn't be getting played off the park by Newcastle. Well, maybe that's what the level that some of these players are at. You never know. That's maybe what we have to accept now, because how many times is it going to happen for us as a fan base to sort of realise that maybe they're all-time low than what we ever thought before, that they're genuinely not even Premier League standard, let alone Europa League or Champions League standard. It's really got to that point for me, and I've had enough.
We are fifth. We are fifth in the league. You can't say we're not Premier League standard. We're fifth.
No, well, the thing is, we're fifth, but do you really trust us to go on a run and get top 4? Do you really trust us to go and beat Man United and Everton? Like, no, I think we'll get played off the park by everyone. Like, you look at, even you can say we've got a favourable run in compared to the other teams around us, but we got played off the park by 18th place Newcastle. Think of what the likes of Wolves we got as well, Leeds, Villa. These guys will play out. These guys will bury us if we play like that today. Because if Newcastle had a better striker up front, we would have lost that today. And that's a fact. You saw the chances Jolinton had. He put about, I think it was 2 of them wide, and there was Dwight Gale as well. He had one that was saved. So if they had better strikers, we would have got battered today. And that's the hard thing to take. And I just don't know how this situation changes, because it just feels we're in the same cycle over and over again. And I don't know what you guys think. Is it even possible to change this?
Not till the end of the season, I don't think. You can't change it. We just got to make do with what we have. And lucky for us, everyone seems to be tripping over themselves, not just us this season. So the fact that that is the case means that top 4 is still a possibility. But in a normal season, it wouldn't be. We should be out of sight, to be honest. We shouldn't really be in contention the way we're playing. But it's kind of who stumbles the least from now to the end of the season. And can we stumble less times than Chelsea and Liverpool, West Ham and Everton? I guess it's possible. But
Do you know what I compare it to?
No one
as well?
knows. No one knows.
Do you know what I compare it to? I compare it to like, you know, and you're in like a race and the person in front of you trips over, but yet you trip over them yourself. That's how I compare. That's how I compare the situation we're in at the moment. And what you just said there, the exact same thing happened last season, and we finished sixth. Like, how many times did we have the opportunity to take over Chelsea or whoever it was, and we bottle it every single time? I genuinely cannot think of one time where we've actually capitalised on it. And that's
both
the
times
most
we played
painful
Chelsea
thing.
last season, we played them to go above them in top 4, and we bottled both of them. Absolutely bottled both of them. And the same thing seems to be happening this season. No, the same thing is definitely happening this season
against Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool as well. Like, I'm sorry, but Liverpool. I know they got a good win at Arsenal yesterday, but Liverpool have been shocking for a lot of this season, and we got played off the park, especially at home. Like, how many of these performances is it going to take for just someone to just speak out? And the worst thing about it is we're not getting any apologies from some of these players. Like, after the Zagreb game, not one apology after. Like. And today we're not going to get any apologies either for just these complete shambles of just bottling. And it's, as I said, we all know it's a mentality thing. Come on, like mentality.
At least Arteta's a man and comes out after they have shambolic performances and apologizes to the fan base.
Exactly. Yeah, fair play to them lot. Exactly. You saw the post. I saw a post from Saka as well that someone brought up saying that they wish our players would do that. So yeah, exactly. At least them lot down the road, at least they apologise. That's the worst thing. And I've said this for a while now. Some of these players are just happy to sit here and earn the money and collect the wage and go home. And as I said, it all stems from the top. The board have allowed these deadwood players and these just shambolic defenders to just stay here, refuse to sell them for whatever reason. Like, what did I tell you guys last week about the refusal to take a loss and everything? That it's just hampered this club for ages, and that's why some of them are still here. They're having a bad influence on the dressing room, clearly, and there's no identity, as I said, and that's where the manager comes into play, because I can't see any patterns of play. There's no combination that seems to work. He's tried like every combination of defence this season, and we're still making mistakes, and that's where I think he has to take responsibility, because I think he needs to be doing more, Jose, and as well, I just feel like after the games, after these sort of performances happen, he just seems to say the same thing, like the players, whatever. He comes out with the same stuff in his press conferences after every single one of these games, and I just feel like he's given up. I feel like you saw what he said after. He was like, same coach, different players. To me, that sounds like a defeated man. And whether we like it or not, I hate to say it, but I said it after the Zagreb game and even after the Villa game. I believe he will be sacked, and that's just the harsh reality of it, because we were hearing all the reports. If he doesn't get top 4, he's gone, and I really don't think we are going to get top 4 or win the cup either. So unfortunately, whether we like it or not, and we know he's walked into a problem that was here before him, with all these players downing tools under Poch. This problem was here before him. However, the way the reality is of the situation, he'll probably be the one that takes the boot first. Although a lot of these players need to go before the manager. That simple. We need to get proper leaders in. Properly go and get Anderson of Fulham, who's been captain of them for quite a few times this season. Go and get Sabitzer, who's the RB Leipzig captain. Go and get these guys that have a mentality that want to. If they come, they'll want to be here and they'll want to prove a point and show why they're good enough to be in the Premier League. We need proper leaders in this team, and I just don't think we have enough of them. We've got the same shambolic, pathetic players that, as I said, nearly won the Premier League, nearly won the FA Cup, nearly won the Champions League. And I'm sorry, I don't think it's possible for us to move forward unless we ship out these players and get proper players in that want to win and are proper leaders.
All right, Charlie, absolute
nice
pleasure
Charlie.
As always, mate. We'll get
Cheers,
to
guys.
hopefully 3 points next weekend. We'll get to speak about that.
Yeah, right. All
right, let's get Jack on. Jack.
Yes, Jack.
How's it going, mate?
It's kind of unbelievable the way we build ourselves up for these games, only to be let down in an even more
It's the
incredible
hope
way.
that kills you, ain't it, Jack?
Yeah, it's pretty glorious.
But talk me through your feelings of the game today.
It's tough because I kind of disagree with certain comments about the midfield, because I actually thought that the midfield was actually carrying us through this game, especially via Tanguy. I thought Højbjerg actually played fine. He actually had some crucial interceptions and blocks in certain periods of the game. I think really just what let us down was the defense. I think Joe Rodon obviously was the best defender of the lot, but what frustrated me the most was it just seemed like Davinson Sanchez couldn't complete a single pass for his life. I couldn't see one time where there was a long pass that was completed. It was probably the worst display we've actually seen from him, I could say.
Yeah, he was absolutely shambolic today, wasn't he? It was pretty much everything that went bad was like a lot of it was through him. I felt a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But does that play into the fact that because there's two ways of looking at that. You can say, well, why is Jose picking him? Why, is Jose's to blame for picking him? Maybe Jose's to blame for setting up the team in a way that puts too much pressure on the defense, or is it the defender's responsibility, for example, not to pass straight to Newcastle players just outside the box to give him a goal? Like, where do you fall on that?
I mean, it wasn't as atrocious as it was today. We've seen him where he sometimes does panic under pressure and kind of just lobs it out of bounds or whatever it may be. But it seemed like today it was just every time that he was on the ball, and he just, like other commenters have said, it just seemed like he really was in a different place today. His head seemed to be somewhere else, and he just seemed to be far more rattled by the occasion than in other situations where he seemed to be able to keep some composure. He wasn't as good defensively, even. That's what we rely on sometimes. Even when he isn't good on the ball, he can still make a great tackle and make a great block, but I didn't really see as much of that either. It's hard to blame Jose for this type of performance by Sanchez, and I've really defended him plenty of times. I've kind of been a Sanchez apologist in times past, but you can't look past just how unproductive he was, and I think it really was kind of shameful how much he gave the ball away and just gave Newcastle more chances. It just really was like pretty pitiful at times.
What's your opinion on Reguilon? Because obviously he didn't have a good performance today. In my opinion, I think that he seems to be off the pace last couple of months, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thinking behind Sergio?
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben. He's been a little bit off, but what's confusing about that is only last season he was debatably the best left back in Europe, and so we know that he's capable of being world class, and it's impossible to explain really. What was somewhat noticeable was obviously Murphy seemed to just be destroying him on that side, and there wasn't really a lot of help for Sergei. At times, he did seem kind of to be left to his own device against Murphy and try his best. And sometimes I thought like Sonny could have done a better job trying to track back, but then again, we're not subbing in Sonny to do that. And maybe we could have offered better protection for Sergei if he wants to go forward. But I think that's maybe the problem, is he loves to go forward, and he's been kind of caught off guard and kind of basically caught people going in behind, and he's just maybe not switched on as much, or he's not getting supported by his teammates. It's really hard to tell.
He's also been injured. Remember, he had that injury.
He has been injured, but I think he was even off the pace before the injury.
Right.
Before the injury, I can't remember too much. I think ever since he's come, I think it's more since he's come back from injury. It just hasn't looked the same. But also to play into that fact between the difference between Rodon and Sanchez, apparently Sanchez gave the ball away today 21 times compared to Rodon, who gave it away 5 times. So that's just night and day compared to the quality on the ball, and it shows the difference in kind of composure. And
I thought Rodon was good today.
Yeah, and I think you could see with Rodon, like we've seen before with Toby, like when he clears the ball or when he heads the ball away, he does it in a way where, he aims for someone.
As in he actually uses his brain.
Yeah, whereas Sanchez is just brainless a lot of the time, absolutely brainless. But
you see what Rodon's going for when he passes it versus Sanchez.
Exactly.
Plenty of times with Sanchez, when he lobs it, I have no idea what that was even intended for. And I think what made it more frustrating was Newcastle were, in a sense, at certain parts of the game, playing similar to how Arsenal were playing to Liverpool, where they just really sit back, and then when they won the ball, they would lob it up top to somebody. And the difference was, for Arsenal, there never seemed to be someone there. And for Newcastle, it just seemed every single time there was someone there to chest the ball, pull it down, and find someone to connect with. And that's what also made it more frustrating, was just seeing Newcastle defenders being able to pick out their players so much more easily than Sanchez was. And you could argue Sanchez had so much more time on the ball than those Newcastle defenders.
So what's the answer, Jack?
it's difficult to argue because we've been talking about who's going to partner maybe Sanchez next season, and this was really an atrocious display. But I sometimes don't like to read too much into one performance. This really was bad, and I can't defend him. But I still apologize for him, and I still seem to defend him. And I would like to see him given still another chance. I would like to see us maybe kind of compare Rodon and Sanchez more. I think we already do it plenty, but really this game did show that they have very similar athletic qualities, and Joe Rodon at least showed that he can handle sometimes the pressure and can at least have a bit more composure during situations like these when we're kind of feeling the pressure and feeling the pressure to win, so to speak. And that's what also made it frustrating was I feel like the weekend started off so well with West Brom and all the results going our way, and this really was a major letdown.
Before we let you go, I know there's a lot of doom and gloom surrounding the result today and the club and the position in the league and what have you, but we are only 2 points outside the top four, to put it lightly. Do you hold any hope that we can finish in the top four?
Yeah, that's why I try not to reflect too much on where our position is after this game. Maybe I understand that others really want to reflect on what the season might look like after this game, and I think that's an understandable response. I kind of just wanted to focus on the players that I think, caused this result. I think we still have a chance. I mean, like Brian, I think said in the beginning, I could see this, I could see this result and then us smacking Man U, the next time. It's really unpredictable with us. I think I would quickly mention that I think Hugo was by far our man of the match today. I think he actually kept us in the game absolutely from the very beginning. And he actually was a bit more cat-like and was kind of a bit more vintage kind of performance than I think we've seen this season. I think this was, despite the result, maybe his best performance.
All right, Jack. Always a pleasure, mate. And hopefully next
guys.
time under a better occasion.
Nice one, Jack.
Yeah, hopefully so.
All right. And last but not least, let's get the Irish Hotspur on. Yes, Dave. How's it going, mate?
Come on, David.
How are you, lads? Disappointing today, isn't it?
Absolutely gutting, Dave. I really is, man. I mean, how many times can we keep blaming these players, keep blaming the manager? I mean, it's just the same shit over and over again, isn't it?
Man, I never ever thought I'd say this about Tottenham. I genuinely just want the season to be over. I'm fed up. I'm exhausted with it now. I'm exhausted with being high one week, low the next week. You know what I mean? Rock bottom, and it's just I'm pissed off.
Making us all
I'm
schizophrenic.
Honestly, yeah, it would. You know what I mean? And I just want the season to be over with. I want to look. We need a transfer window. We need a big transfer window to improve our defense. That's the main focus for me. This transfer window, it's massive. I couldn't care on the manager. I don't give a damn at this point. Even though I still do think Jones is the man. Don't get that construed. I just don't care on the manager. We need to improve this transfer window and that defense, because if not, we're going to go into another season where you're going to have highs, lows, and everything else again. It's been the same for nearly 2.5 years now with this core group of players, and it's becoming unbearable. Something has to give.
How much responsibility does Jose, though, take after today's performance? Even though defenders were a shambles a lot of the time, playing their way into trouble and stuff like that. 17 shots inside our own box Newcastle had. That's their highest ever apparently under Steve Bruce's tenure that they've had. They had like an XG of like 4 point something ridiculous, like something they've never had in the Premier League. Is it not a systemic thing from within how the team is being coached that when we have players like Ndombele, Lo Celso, Højbjerg, Kane, Lucas, should we not be able to play around and dominate this Newcastle team? Why is that? Why are we in a situation where they're dominating us and having more shots than us?
Look, to be honest with you, Mourinho's not perfect. Every manager makes mistakes. You know what I mean? Every manager makes mistakes. He's not perfect. Let me get that clear. But for me, I really don't think he's a massive part of the issue right now. I do think the inconsistency of these players are. Look, I wouldn't be surprised to see us go out and beat United next week when there's not really any pressure, because people are expecting nobody talking about us next week for top four. So there probably won't be any pressure. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us go out and beat them. Look, we could go on a 4 or 5 game win streak now, but you can guarantee when that time comes around, no matter whether it's Man City or whether it's West Brom, when the time comes around and people start talking about Tottenham doing this, doing that, we're going to bottle it.
As always, mate. As always.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Even when we had the prime squad under Pochettino, the same thing. When the time came around, we just didn't deliver. And it's no matter how big or little the prize is, or how big or little the carrot is, the same thing keeps happening. The squad needs to be rotated at this stage.
Let me ask you, David, that we have this record of conceding. What is it? We've conceded 10 goals in the last 15 minutes of games this season. We've lost 13 points. Huh?
How many is it?
10, I think, 9 or 10. We've lost 13 points this season from leading positions. Is that more to do with Jose being too negative and being too pragmatic and not going for the kill or when we're winning, or is it to do with a players thing where they don't have the bottle to kind of hold on to a lead and hold on to position when they do have it? Like, what's more to blame in that aspect?
Look, for me, to be honest with you, I think I'm gonna say the players, because I've seen the same thing time and time again. Look, it's just frustrating because, they went and scored straight away. Then you see Ndombele pick up the ball, go and do 3-4 step overs, beat 3-4 players. Now, where was that when we were 2-1 up? You know what I mean? Why do we have to wait for that to happen to see a reaction? I'm fed up with it. I'm just fed up with it. Look, I don't know. I just don't think the problem is the manager. I still do think it's the players. I think it's a mentality problem. I think it's a problem of them switching on. Because it's happened to some of these players so many times, I just think they know it. I just think it's in their brain now. Oh, well, it's inevitable. It's going to happen, because we do have to remember we have had chances to kill off a lot of these games. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We have had the
20
chances.
seconds before the equaliser, we had a chance to kill off the game.
At the end of the day, Newcastle had chances to kill us off as well.
Yeah, I know that, but we got away with it. But then we had chances to kill off the game still then, and we still didn't take them. And then when you don't take the chances, that mindset keeps creeping in. Once these things keep happening to you, you're just kind of like, yourself, you could be doing anything in life. Once something keeps happening to you again, you're just like, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? The same thing is going to happen. I've seen this. This is writing on the wall. Same thing's going to happen. And it's a big mentality problem at this club. A huge mentality problem at this club. And it needs to be rectified. I don't know how they're going to sort it out, but it needs to be sorted. We can't keep carrying this tag with us. We can't keep carrying it.
With those players there, that tag is going to be with us for a long time. I think with the owner there as well, I think it all comes down from Enoch, the board, and Daniel Levy. It all stems from there. But at the end of the day, Jose Mourinho, this kind of thing happens with him at every single club he's been at. I know he wins trophies as well with every club he's been at, but the back end of Chelsea, same thing. Back end of Man United, same thing. And now it's happening here without even the trophies. Of course, it comes to Tottenham where he doesn't win trophies and it gets all toxic before he even wins the trophies. But for me, I'm getting increasingly hard to back Mourinho. It really is.
Yeah, no, look, it is. I agree with you. It is becoming increasingly hard to back Mourinho. Just my opinion on it is that when you look from things from the outside in, Pochettino and Mourinho can't be both bad managers. They both can't be bad managers. And it's the same bar couple, same core group of players that keep letting us down. Whether under both managers, whether a player comes injured and you're asking them to step in, performances aren't the same. The quality is too big of a gap. And it's the problem. No matter, look, you can bring in anybody tomorrow. You're still going to have the same next season unless you have a big transfer window, especially sorting out that defence. I do think there's been many positives this season in terms of how bad it is now. How are we top of the league? How are we in the League Cup final? Things like that. Okay, then you do have crushing defeats. Obviously, the big games again, the crushing defeats. But for me, if we can sort out that back line, because it's been an Achilles heel from the start of the season all the way through now, it's been an Achilles heel. Balls into the box, we cannot deal with, whether it's from our own set pieces or from teams whipping them in or from their own set pieces. We cannot. Our defenders are not capable of going and attacking the ball. It's been there all season long. Until we get a back four that's stable, like we have done under previous managers over the years, a left back, right back, two centre backs, and then another two or three defenders there that can step in when needed, stuff like that. The same things are going to keep happening no matter what manager.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, David. But look, that is it. What more can we say? I mean, absolute disaster today. It was great to be on your channel.
Sanchez was shocking, lad.
Sanchez. Forget how many times can we talk about this guy? This guy, Davinson Sanchez, lets us down time and time again. And even when he was going through a good moment, he was still letting us down. He was still making mistakes. The only reason why it wasn't costing us is because the other teams weren't capitalizing on it. So this guy, Davinson Sanchez, he needs to get out of the door. Eric Dyer needs to get out of the door. We need to revamp this defense
Can I
big
just say
time.
something quickly on Sanchez? There's been a lot of big reaction to obviously his performance, and obviously we've all criticised him heavily, but apparently he's been receiving a bit of racial abuse on the other social media platforms. So,
sake, man.
like
Why?
anyone
that's
doing
wrong.
that needs to get out of this club seriously, because that is just absolutely disgraceful and
What is wrong
horrific.
with people?
These
What
people
is
sending
wrong
that
with
kind of
people?
stuff to Sanchez is disgusting and it's vile, and it needs to stop. Absolutely, can't condone that kind of actions whatsoever. Doesn't matter what kind of performance he puts in, and these people need to get out of our club if they're sending. They're no fans of Tottenham. If they're sending those
Racists
kind
are no
of
fans
things.
of anything. They're not fans of football. They're not fans of Tottenham. They need to get out of any walk of life. Never mind football. It's not accepted in any part of society today. That is not accepted. Not today, not 10 years ago, not 20 years ago, not 20 years in the future. It's an absolute disgrace.
No, it's a joke. Look, you know what I mean? Have your say on football whenever you want. But the thing is, you never bring anything personal into it. You never go down that route. There's no room for it in life. You know what I mean? There's no room for it in life. We're all human beings at the end of the day. We're all humans.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Look, let's end it on that note. Unfortunately, a very negative note, but it's been a negative day, hasn't it? So, David, thanks a lot, man, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you next week when we've got some better footballing news to talk about.
Nice to see you,
Look, do you know what, lads? It really wouldn't surprise me if we went and bet United, went on a little run. You know what I mean? Look, like I said, I just want the season to be over. I want the transfer window to roll around. I want to do business, and I want next season to start. I'm slowly losing optimism for this season as the weeks go by. But I just want to make it clear to everybody as well. Look, you know, I may support the manager, but it doesn't matter who the manager is. I'm still going to support them. Even if it's a manager I don't want in the door tomorrow, I'm still going to support that manager. You know, and we also need to stop just straight away after every game, Jose in, Jose out. We need to start analysing the games as well and the players. We can never lose focus of the bigger issues at the club as well. You know what I mean? So, look, I still think we still have top four. We're 1 point better off, 1 point closer than what we were yesterday. It's not what we wanted, but we're 1 point closer. Teams are still slipping up around us. A lot of these teams ahead of us still have to play each other. So, look, for now, I'm going to say it's still on. And no matter what, we're Tottenham till we die, lads. We're Tottenham till we die.
That is always the case, David. Big up yourself. Let's get some positive thinking back into our brains and let's move on with the season. David, thanks a lot for coming on, man. We'll see you next time.
Nice one.
Come on. All right, so that is it for the post-match fan show. That was nearly 2 hours of Tottenham therapy for you guys. We got the morning after show tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, where we can delve even deeper into that performance.
And we will be reacting to Mourinho's post-match press conference.
Exactly, and we'll be reacting to Jose's post-match press conference tomorrow morning. If you want to watch it, it is on our channel right now, so just go and check out the channel, and it is the last video uploaded onto the channel now, Jose Mourinho's press conference. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment, and as always, come on, you Spurs.